click on 5 or 6 links, or you could click on one. The one that brings you to the latest installment of the low effort, lower budget NBP show. As always, I'm your host, Daltmick, recording this episode a little late at night, but nonetheless, bringing you more NBP action. I'm going to lead this show off with our sponsor, Lustrious Skink Federation. They bring you Season 3 of LSFC, but this time around, it's Lustrious Stunty Federation Cup. That's right, the Stunty Federation Cup is an attempt to bring greatness back to the Kingdom of Illustria. They spent a lot of money on Season 2, and it wasn't quite as successful as Season 1. But they're looking to turn that all around in Season 3. If you look to find more info on that, you can browse over on the forums. There'll be a link in the description. Anyways, we'll bring you on to the next segment of the show, I guess. And that is episode 6. Guys, this is episode 6. When I first started recording these, I thought that we wouldn't even get 6 of these this season. But through some power, I guess through Nuffle, we'll say, I have managed to get one of these out to you every week. But I will say that, like I said in the first episode, you may not get one of these every week. That just happens to be how the dice have fallen so far. In fact, this week, we almost didn't get an episode. Had some family visit. There wasn't any games played. But then, on this Sunday morning, while I was browsing Blood Bowl, I saw that we had a lot of new players on teams. So, with the amount of transfers we had this week alone, that's a show all by itself. But we do have week 5 of competition coming up. How could I have forgotten that week 2 of interconference, interdivisional play is upon us? AFC versus NFC, once again, the final round of this season to declare who is the dominant conference. Ooh, so far, AFC is in the lead with an aggregate score of 6-3-3. NFC, 3-3-6. So NFC is looking to reclaim this week and come out on the top amount of wins. So they can do that and be declared the best conference if they can just beat AFC. That's all they have to do. But anyway, we'll break it on into the matchups. We have several crazy, almost season-defining, if you will, matchups. And I'm going to lead it off with the division of yours truly, a division I named the Tarred Feather Division versus Beheaded Kings. That's right, folks. Just like last season, these two divisions go head-to-head on the Blood Bowl pitch. So, why don't I just start it off at number 4? That is Go Dog Sick'em versus Josiah Frost, a tenured coach versus a veteran coach here in NBP, when the Gordia Bulldogs will go head-to-head with the Game of Gnomes. That is the 4v4 matchup. Moving on down the line, or up I should say, is Knockout Joe, just sneaking into 3rd place last week, versus a faithful watcher of the show, Legend T969. That is Joe's Imaginations versus the Scarface Scavengers V2. Those are 2 teams I've talked about quite a lot this season, I believe. One for maybe not so positive reasons, and one for positive reasons, maybe. I haven't been the kindest to these 2 teams, but maybe they can win some favor with a big win this week. That is a Goblin team versus a Chaos Dwarf team. So anytime Goblins hit the pitch, there's going to be mayhem. And we just might see some mayhem as those nasty, nasty Chaos Dwarves take on those fragile Goblins. But the Trolls can save the day. Who knows? It's always Blood Bowl and anybody can win. Moving up, you have yours truly with the Badass Women's Association versus another coach I have spoke highly of. He is the NFC coach of the first half. That is Coach Pong Hines and the Lauren Rockets. These are two teams that squared up last season, and the Badass Women's Association fell to the Lauren Rockets. And they're looking to regain their composure and possibly bully a team that has faced some hardships this season. But nonetheless, they are still a top team. And even though it is my own team, I will say we are a top team as well. So two top teams, they're second place, going head to head. And we look to play that game, I think, Friday. So look for that around 2 to maybe 3 Central. Anyway, moving up to two more coaches with high regards here at NBP. And that is AFC Coach of the First Half, Shushnik, up against Afro Chef. Yet another great coach. They're both first in their division. They're not only top coaches in the division, they're top coaches in the league. And that is the Night of the Living Dread versus the Street Fighter Elves. One of those teams picked up a transfer player. Find out who at the end of the show. Anyways, we'll move on over to Deep Dark Division versus the Old World Division. And I'm going to start this one off with the first place game, and that is Demented versus Jonah. Cannibal Corps versus the Rainforest Queens. A thrilling matchup there that can go really any way. We'll have to see if the Blitzers can handle those mummies of the Cannibal Corps. But, you know, anything can go in Blood Bowl, baby. Moving on down to number 2. We got Blue 6 Max versus Wheelie 365. Blue 6 Max has managed to climb his way up into second place. It's been quite an amazing story so far, watching the villains of DC climb up the ranks and the Deep Dark Division. That's a tough division with a lot of tough coaches in it. It's great to see Blue 6 climbing his way back up there as he takes on Boom Boom Shake the Room. Another team that, despite a few hardships, has somehow found their way into second place. It's one of those good seasons when you get a couple losses and you still are second place in your division, knowing that you just have to show up for the second half and you're on your way to the playoffs. And I think both of these teams have great playoff expectations, and it could all come crumbling down with this one. So let's see how it goes, folks. We'll move on down the line to the third place game, where Bort takes on Fantastic Dr. J. An amazing game because they had transfer dealings during the transfer weeks. Dr. J sold a player to Bort to the team that he's going to face. And he also brought up a player as well, though. So maybe he has an answer to that player he sold Bort. That is a sinking ship managing to stay afloat for one more week in third place against the Grim Reaping Institute. Both of these teams could turn around their season with this very game. I surely hope someone streams that. I believe Bort's been streaming. Shout out to him. So maybe he'll stream that game, or maybe Dr. J will get it streamed. Who knows? Maybe we'll film it in stereo like we did one of those other games. I think that was Midway's game we did that. But anyway, that's that one. That's going to be a good matchup. Well, look out for that one. Number 4. 4 versus 4. That's Tons of Fun versus the Prime Sinister. Terrible Ghouls versus the Fun Guys. This is an interesting, very, very interesting matchup because both of these teams have managed to do nothing but fall to the bottom of their conference, or division, I should say, all season. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, when you can't pull together wins, that's what happens. We've all been there. Both of these teams looking to get a much deserved win. If they look to even hope to make it to playoffs here. I think a draw hurts both of these teams, actually. So you may be seeing them trying to play for the win. And I don't mean that in any negative way, shape, or form on either of those coaches. Those are two great coaches. I admittedly have saw more games and have played more games against tons of fun. But I've been watching some of Prime Sinister's games, and he's a great guy, and he's a great coach. And either of them still have a chance to win this game. I mean, that's Blood Bowl, right? You both have a chance to win from the very beginning. Anyway, moving on to our next matchup. That is Saltworks versus Ancient Empires. We'll just start it off with number 1. Why not? That's simple enough, right? No, actually, we'll just flip it like we did the first one. Number 4, my man, DK. And he has recently attended my coach's clinic these last few days. He came up and visited the set. We played a little game of Blood Bowl here. This is actually the remnants of our game. I kind of planned to get an interview or something in with him, but it just didn't quite fall. But he doesn't live that far away, so hopefully we can get him on the show sometime. Be the first official guest star of the show. We tried to record this game. Had some technical difficulties streaming directly to Twitch. Tried to record the game. Had some technical difficulties getting the game recorded. Ran out of space on my other phone that I was recording the game with, and we got about 17 minutes of play. So 2 turns probably, considering how our games go. Anyway, that is DK and the Kitchen Raiders up against Blake Nuts, one of the fans of the show. I assume you're all fans of the show, but one of our more vocal fans of the show, I should say. That's Blake Nuts 666, and yeah, the boys, the team leader in passing, going against a Skaven team. So, will the Skaven try to... Ooh, that was a skull and a push. Even on the tabletop, I roll bad dice. The Skaven team may try to prove something and may try to outpass the league leader in passes. I don't think so. I think they're going to be coming for a win. They're mad that they're in 4th place. The Kitchen Raiders are not happy about 4th place, and they're looking to get on the pitch and say something about how mad they are. They want to climb, and SPP just edges them out. You have to look, though, that they're going up against an Orc team who's also hungry for a win. I think anybody in 4th place is hungry for a win. And everybody wants to make the playoffs, I believe. So yet again, another game where a draw could hurt these teams. One of these teams needs to try and grab the win to continue on in this season, but going into divisional play once again. Moving up to number 3. That is Rorik Dark versus Commissioner Kamikoze. The gorgeous ladies of Blood Bowl versus the Stormstad Silver Horde. Glob versus SSH. Once again, that Norse team is playing Amazons. Last time it resulted in a 1-1 draw. We'll see if SSH can knock more players of Glob off the field than Glob can do so to them. Both of these heavy AV7 teams looking to nuzzle up against one another and hopefully get a win to pull them out of 3rd place there. Probably hard to get the wild card place in 3rd. The wild card spot in 3rd place. Whatever. Tongue-tied all the way up and down the board to number 2. That's Johnny Mal's Johnny's Rottens against Rocky is Back. And that's the Warpfire Stones. Rocky is back. I've talked about him a lot on this show. He's firmly held 2nd place. Last year's runner-up of the Nuffle Challenge Series, still looking to find his way into the playoffs as he goes against the 2nd place Johnny's Rottens. The draw last week really hurt him against Jonah because Jonah kept 1st place, but Johnny fell to 2nd after Midway grabbed a win. And that moves us up to our 1st place game. Midway and the Zorn Uzkul Zealots, not looking to get destroyed, versus Burzo and Dinosaurus Rex. Wow, boys. I cannot believe it. Both of our first year pro coaches are first place in their division. That's a fun NBP fact, isn't it? That's crazy. That just shows the determination of these coaches to pull themselves up through the proving ground, come into the pros, and say, look, we may have come from the proving grounds, but we're just as good as the rest of you pros. I mean, they're undisputed at this point, right? Shushnik won an award for AFC first coach of the first half. I mean, Berzo and him in first place. That's great. That's success of the proving grounds right there. Who will be the first to topple them? Will we see those hard-hitting zealots damage the scaly hides of the Saurai? Or will we see the Sauruses come crashing down upon the Hobgoblins and Chaos Dwarfs? We'll see. I will remain a neutral observer. Both of those are great coaches. Midway, a 2-time champion. Berzo's looking to plow his way into the competition and make a name for himself in NBP. And, man, look at those are just some amazing games. All of those are great coaches. Every single NBP coach is a great coach. That's why it's NBP-Pro. And all of these are great matchups. I mean, these are just powerhouse teams. This is like one of those sweet spots of Blood Bowl almost. We're about halfway through season 2 of a cycle, I should say. This is season 5, but this is a cycle 2. And these teams are just getting nice and beefy. Lots of skills distributed about, but nothing to be super overpowered just yet. Some teams are just hitting their stride and will continue to stride into season 3. Some teams are beginning to fall off. That's just how the meta of Blood Bowl works. But that pretty much covers it for the matchups. I mean, I can't invent any more matchups. Who knows? Maybe I'll say some stuff about proving grounds on here one day. Or perhaps we'll leave it like this, like we did the write-ups, and say it's incentive to make it to the pros. Because if you make it to the pros, I'm going to talk about you. It's just going to happen. Anyways, we'll move on to the transfers. Like I said before, transfers alone could have been an episode, but because I love you all so much, it's an episode with the matchups. A double helping of Blood Bowl, of NBP action, I should say, right here. This could have been 2 shows, but no, it's 1. And we'll start it off with one of the most explosive call-ups, I should say. I think that this team has come out the best, and that's Commissioner Cozy's Stormstad's Silver Horde coming up with King Prong. They searched far and wide and acquired the playing rights out of the dev for King Prong, a vicious Yeti, snow troll, whatever you want to call him. It's going to be brutal, folks. That is a hell of a player. And going on down the list, I'll go down to my division mate. That's the Gordia Bulldogs. And they bring up Mugask, and that's a blitzer. They sent a dude down and brought a dude up. That's MVP action for you there. Not many other places are you going to be able to swap out players like that. That's an amazing feature here with our transfers. Moving on down, the Villains of DC call up a blitzer, Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger has now joined the world of NBP. Don't sleep on him, or you may see him more than just on the pitch, as Villains of DC pick up a new player. Oh boy, it's the boys, and they pick up, looks like Gorbad Ironclaw. I think that was a blitzer that they pulled up. No, that's a Black Orc blocker that they pulled up out of the Dev League into pro action. He's looking to smash some rats. He's ready. He's ready to hit the pitch. Legend T bringing up Little Green. I didn't quite get I don't think he put the positional in the trade record there, but that's who he brought up. Bort bringing up a Rat Ogre. Oh, this is the matchup I talked about. Bort and Dr. J had an interesting trade where Bort sent him a lowly lineman and a bunch of money and received King Rat the Rat Ogre for a sinking ship. Adding a little bit of extra weight to that sinking ship. Hopefully he doesn't capsize them, as Dr. J brings up St. Lucifer. And I'm pretty sure that was a blitzer. Looking to kill some rats. Hopefully he doesn't have a grudge out for one of Dr. J's other player, King Rat. That would be an interesting matchup. But I think we all have to see that matchup just because of the transfer. As I said before, Bort's going to stream it. It's an important game for them both. And there's a little bit of added history. They're going to play each other, and they gave players to each other. Interesting. Moving on down, Badass Women's Association acquired Spike from our dev team. Pong Hines going to grab Lorenian. I'm not very fluent in Wood Elf, but he picks up a catcher as we take on each other this week. Wheelie and Boom Boom Shake the Room bringing up a player named the Prime Sinister. Not to be confused with our other coach. He's not playing on the field and coaching. But that is the Prime Sinister, a blitzer for Boom Boom Shake the Room. Moving over to DK. I've spoken about him before on the show so far. And that's Debo is who he decides to pick up. Didn't quite catch who that was. I think that's probably a rat ogre. I think he was looking into something like that. I don't know for sure. I should have, but I didn't. And then lastly, Afro Chef and the Super Street Fighter Elves. That's Vega. He's already played that game. I don't know if they streamed it, but it's probably in the Cyanide replays on Blood Bowl 2. Shushnik and Afro have already played their Week 5 game, but as always, I do not spoil those results until next week. Tune in next week to find out how that resulted. Or just check the game. But other than that, yeah, guys, thanks for watching, man. I can't believe we've got another episode in the books. I'll shill as always. I'm trying to get 50 followers on Twitch, so if you haven't followed me on Twitch, please do so. Would really like to get that affiliate status and get the name of NBP out there a little bit more. I'm so close to it. I need a few more. I need like one more average viewer on my videos and 50 followers for that. I'm going to put that in the description. As always, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, dude. It makes me feel warm inside when I see those thumbs up. But most importantly, I like seeing the views. Seeing all those views, thumbs up, comments, whatever, makes the show so much better for me because it lets me know I'm making something that you guys like. And again, if I ever do anything you don't like on the show, if there's something I can do to make the show better, make the show faster or something like that, more enjoyable, please let me know. Either in the comments or PM. We're all on PlayStation. We have the league chat. Just let me know. But yeah, thanks, guys.